Greetings everyone, this is Fortimus Prime Films coming to you with a Transformers review. And today, we will be reviewing the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom 24 Deluxe Class Wheeljack. So, this is a nice figure, I really have to say it from now. And you will see all the details that I will be talking about this, but first, I want to share a little bio of Wheeljack from TransformersWiki.net. Because I really do miss those bios that really got you to know the character. So here's what TransformersWiki.net has to say about him. Wheeljack is his own worst enemy. Something of a crackpot inventor. A good half of his creations blow up in his face, and that's just if he's lucky. His constant need to invent increasingly complex devices stems from his desire to improve the Autobots' tech. But as a result, he's simultaneously one of the Autobots' greatest assets and problems. For every successful gadget he builds, there's one which requires Ratchet or Hoist to put him and his lab back together. But once in a while, he strikes gold, which has won him respect for even the Decepticons. He is, however, not a complete nerd. As good as he is in the lab, Wheeljack is just as amazing on the road. There are few stunts he can't pull off, and he loves to show off his driving skills as much as he does his inventions. That is your bio for Wheeljack. So he's pretty much of a crazy character, but lovable. So first, before we go on, I want to tell you the review system we shall be using. Fortimus Prime's scale system, which we will be reviewing the vehicle design, transformation, protoform design, articulation, and fun of how fun the figure is. So, before we continue going with this, first, let's watch Wheeljack awake in a professional stop-motion short film. I hope you enjoy, and now let's watch Wheeljack in action. So now that we have seen Wheeljack in action and saw him in his full G1 glory, I'm just so excited for this figure. We can talk about the specs. So the line of this figure is the Transformers Generations War for Cybertron, Kingdom, Earthrise, and Netflix. So here's the thing. This figure has been launched in 3 separate lines, but it's pretty much the same figure. We had his first release in Earthrise. We also had another release in the Walmart exclusive Netflix series, and now we have this new release in Kingdom. Earthrise has the most amazing package, and if you can find the Earthrise packaging, if you want to keep the packaging, I strongly recommend you find them, because the plastic encasing that those figures had is so much superior than this new packaging system. And then there's the Netflix one, which just comes with a little bit of cosmetic damage added to the figure manually. I'm not a big fan of that. But if you want Wheeljack scratched, you can get him for the Netflix series. But the easiest to find is this new War for Cybertron Kingdom. The manufacturer's suggested retail price is $22.99, and on eBay you can find them for as cheap as $20 all the way to $28. So he's pretty easy to find and to get if you can afford him. There are plenty of Wheeljacks out there. The class is a deluxe class, so he's not a very big figure. He doesn't come with a lot of action-packed features, but he's really, really awesome. So let's take a look at the packaging. In the front, we can see this art of Wheeljack in both his robot mode and his vehicle mode, blasting or rolling out in his car mode, which we shall talk about later. We can see this small window showcasing the figure. Not a big fan of this new packaging system, but that's another video for another day. On the sides, we can see it says the Transformers, and below it says Transformers Kingdom, the War for Cybertron trilogy. It's made by Hasbro and Takara Tomy, and up here we can see it says Wheeljack, and above that it is in Cybertronian letters. You can use these letters to decode the letters of the Cybertronian alphabet, and you can pretty much translate anything from the series to the packages and even to the special cards these figures are bringing in. So it's pretty nice if you have the time to do that. On the sides, we can see it says Deluxe Class in plenty of languages, and just below that it says War for Cybertron with the artwork up there. On the other side, we can see it is the art for the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom. We go to the back and we can see the CGI models. They're not always realistic. I'm not a big fan of these. But it says it transforms in 19 steps. We can see it says Wheeljack in there. Now we go to the top and we can see it says the Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy. We can see the Autobot logo in there, and down here it says War for Cybertron Kingdom 24. So this is the figure 24. We do have this very nice flap on the top, which is useful for storing the figures back in their packages, because now the top flap won't open, so that is pretty handy. So now let's open the package and see what we get. So on the inside, this is what we get. We have the instruction booklet, which showcases the full 19 steps to transform Wheeljack from his robot mode to his vehicle mode, and etc. So that is fun. Always keep these around for future reference. We also have this little paperwork from Hasbro with the choking hazard, like you're not gonna really worry about that. And here's another thing. Inside this little cardboard tray, we get this Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom card. And it has this sticker that you can peel up, and it says here it's from Megatron. And if we peel up the sticker, we can see an image of Galvatron and some Cybertronian letters down there. And I decoded it, and it says becomes Galvatron. Like, that is really a no-brainer if you're a G1 fan. Like, that's what Megatron has been doing since the first days of G1. But anyways, we continue, and we have this terrible that I hate packaging, because it seems to be some sort of recycled carton. I'm not against recycling, but not uncollectible figures, because Trax, Warpath, Sideswipe, and Skywarp came scratched right out of the packaging. So that never happened with any of my figures that came with the plastic trays. They only been happening with the ones that came with the cardboard boxes, and the places they scratched is where they make contact with the cardboard box. And we also get the figures, so that's pretty much all we get inside the packaging. So yeah, so Wheeljack, you can come out now. So first of all, let's take a look at the vehicle mode. Wheeljack, transform. And here we have Wheeljack in his vehicle mode. And I gotta tell you straight out of the bat, this is an amazing figure. This vehicle mode is just so nice. It's a racing car. It seems to be trying to imitate a Lancia Stratos 5. I'm not a car person, but I looked it up and I've seen the car, so it makes sense. And you can see the car is just cluttered with details, like little details that they didn't even have to put there, but these guys at Hasbro did, and I, for one, can appreciate that. So if we take a closer look, we can start at the spoiler up here, and it says Arrow Bolt and some Japanese letters, and according to Google Translate, that says Cybertron. We go to the side, and we see a little Autobot logo there. Down there it says Swerve, no idea what that is. Another Cybertron in Japanese. Down here, Cybertron Con. Ricochet, I have no idea what that is. And over here it says Praxis. Above it says Velocitron Racing 1984. Transformers! Over here it says Protehex. Up here it says Rally X, Autobot Trax, W Motors, Lucky. And over here it says Override Iacon Modulator. And up there it actually says Wheeljack, and it says Invenzione Modulator. So those are many details, and you can really tell that Wheeljack is a racing car guy. He loves racing, just like his bio says. It says here that he raced on Praxis, on Velocitron. You can really tell Wheeljack is just a racing guy. So the vehicle mode is awesome. Now, my one complaint with this figure is that he rolls, but he doesn't roll very nicely. The wheels are not running like a well-oiled machine. Not sure if I can fix that. They are very nicely painted, but they are so smooth that they just don't tend to roll as they should. But he holds on together greatly. Nothing falls apart or pops open, at least on my copy, and as far as I know, no other copies have any problems with that. It's pretty accurate to the show, and he looks great with other Autobots of the lineup. Other race cars and sports cars, he just looks great. He's so much fun just to roll around and use. As for weapon storage, there are 3 holes in which you can put the weapon in. Up here and any of these backlights. Maybe they're trying to imitate the backlights from a Lancia Stratos, but I'm not sure. It works for the weapon storage. No lights are painted, but I mean seriously, why would you complain about lights with so much detail put into this thing? Like, if you're complaining about lights after all this paint job, I don't even know what to say to you. So yeah, that is the vehicle mode. He looks fantastic. One of my favorite vehicle modes of the lineup. I just love this guy. So now, let's go into the transformation. And before I go into the transformation, I have to tell you, this is the most fun transformation of the entire lineup. This design of the transformation I love because it is simple, straightforward, and at the same time complex, but it's so much fun. So now let's do this. I usually use the instructions, but the instructions overcomplicated it a bit, so I'm just gonna use my style. So first we pop open the arms over here, and then we pull them out from this little connector down here. We fold out the head, and we fold the wings. Next, we twist the whole figure on the waist. We disconnect the windshield using your fingernail or something, and move it all the way up here. Next, you untab the feet, and this little part can get a little bit complicated and a little bit scary. You first have to disconnect it a little bit from here, and then you pull it away. And you have to move this windshield down at the same time as you're doing that, and connect it to that tab over there. Next, you fold the feet, you twist the arms, then you twist the hand, fold them down, connect the weapon if you want to, and there you have Wheeljack in his robot mode. And like I said, this transformation is so good. It's amazing. It's simple, realistic, complex, but above all, it's just pure fun. The transformation is so straightforward and complex, it just makes you want to grab this guy and transform him over and over and over again. I had tons of fun with this guy around. So now let's take a look at the robot mode. And I have to tell you, the robot mode is fantastic. It is extremely accurate to the show. He has some great articulation. He just looks good and solid all around. There's not a single spot on this guy that has a hole or something other than the feet, but I barely even noticed that until now. The head just looks so good. It just screams Wheeljack. The blue of the eyes is so well painted in there, and the little chrome paint, it is just so well applied. This head sculpt is just amazing. He just looks so good. His weapon is a nice touch. It's not as long as the original one, but it works. It just works. The wings on the back, they look great. They should have been a little bit longer according to the show, but they are removable, so you can actually buy some 3D printed accessories and just put them there if you want to. That really doesn't bother me. I'm pretty sure it won't bother most people. The chest just looks fantastic. The window showcases some of the molded detail below, but he doesn't look skeletal. He actually looks really good. Like, there's some figures that just have like this little bar on the middle, like Studio Series 49 Bumblebee, but this guy doesn't. He looks full. Like, he doesn't look like a skeleton down there. The only problem that I do have with the chest is that this little black bar he has up here. According to the show, that's supposed to be green, but that can be easily fixed. The arms are big and flat. They have some nice molded detail that makes them look good, and some very nice articulation and ports to connect weapons and such. Now the legs, they're just a little bit too big, but they look fine for what it is. Like, come on, it's a $20 mini masterpiece Wheeljack. Like, how can you complain about this? So this is an amazing figure as a robot mode. It just screams Wheeljack. So now let's put on some comparisons with him, with his first appearance with G1 Bumblebee, Earthrise Optimus Prime. Here we have Sunstreaker, which is what I would call an echo model of Wheeljack. He just scales really well. He just looks good with all of these other figures. He looks especially good with Hoist and Ratchet after fixing a big mistake that he made on the lab. And he looks great with other vehicles that are sports cars and just preparing them for a great race. He just looks great. So as for articulation, the head is on a ball joint. There is a little bit of a loose hinge on my copy. I'm not sure if this is happening to all the copies, but it's pretty easy for him to look down and a little bit hard for him to look up. The arms can rotate all the way back. They crash back here on this joint, but they can go way back on the other side. They can fold out. You have a nice rotation here in the elbow, and you have a nice rotation in the wrists. You have a really good articulation on the waist. He can rotate 360. The legs can go this far. Knee can bend 90 degrees. And the feet has some very nice articulation due to transformation. And the hinge that I also love is here too. This little swivel on the feet. As for accessories, we get this weapon. I know I sounded a little bit not too excited that Trax came with 2. That is a lot to be excited for. As for the accessories, this is all we get. 2 weapons. It's nice. We have a weapon. There are some figures that don't have a weapon at all. So that is great. This guy came with 1. I was really hoping he came with a gun, because this is just his shoulder cannon. And it's not something that you particularly see Wheeljack holding in his hand. So it's great. I really wish they could have had 2 weapons, but it works. It just works. It's great. Now let's go on to the review scores. The vehicle design, I give it a 9. A 9 out of 10 because this vehicle design is so well made. It's trying to imitate that G1 Lancia Stratos that he was inspired from, and yet he doesn't look that exact that it could result in some copyright claim. And he has a lot of painted detail that just showcases how Wheeljack loves racing. The transformation, I give it a solid, staggering 10 out of 10. This is my favorite transformation of the entire lineup. I respect you if you disagree, but this transformation is the best, the most fun, the most intuitive of the entire lineup. I just enjoy it so much. It just makes you want to grab this guy and transform him over and over and over again. It is complex, it is realistic, but above all, it is fun. And that's what I want with these Transformers figures. More than screen accuracy, I want them to be fun. The protoform design, I give it an 8 out of 10. Why don't I give it a 10 out of 10? The wings, the mist paint, and the hilariously big feet. But other than that, he's great. It just screams Wheeljack. The articulation, I give it a 9. Because he can be a little bit clumsy because of those ginormous feet. And he can crash a little bit in his arms. He can't rotate actually 360. But he has some really good articulation. And the overall fun, a staggering 10 out of 10. Because regardless, all those little tiny flaws are just nitpicks. Because he's just a fun figure. He's pocketable in his vehicle mode. You can just put him in your backpack or something and just take a transformer with you. That's how good this figure is. So the average I give to this figure is a solid 9.2 out of 10. Should you buy this figure? Yes, you should. If you can afford him and you want a Wheeljack in your collection, or you're just buying this gift for someone, I can tell you, they're gonna love this guy if they don't have him yet. This guy is the representation of an affordable Wheeljack, a $20 mini masterpiece. So that has been my review for the Transformers War for Cybertron, Earthrise Kingdom and Netflix Wheeljack. I hope you enjoyed it and this video was fun for you to watch. So Wheeljack, you may transform and roll out. Thank you so much for watching. May you have a great day, and God bless you. It's gonna take me a minute to transform the guy. Transforming Wheeljack. Transforming the mad scientist. Just like that. Almost done in the vehicle mode. In the vehicle mode.